Dear friends, welcome back to another broadcast. I hope you're all doing well. I greet you all with love and respect. Today's global topic is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's recent visit to the White House. But more important than the visit itself is its content. Will there be a ceasefire in Gaza or not? They call it a ceasefire, but the real issue is whether Israel will stop the massacre of civilians in Gaza. That's the core question. We'll explore. This is the third time Netanyahu's been hosted at the White House since Trump became president, and the fourth time he's met Trump in just 7 months, including a visit to Trump's Florida estate before Trump even took office. As far as I know, no other world leader has had such frequent contact with a newly elected U.S. president. It's as if the White House has become Netanyahu's second home. Netanyahu's close circle, like Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermodar, frequently in Washington or Florida. Many are dual citizens and have deep American roots. It's often hard to tell who's part of Trump's team and who's part of Netanyahu. On matters of Israel and the Middle East, Trump's advisors are largely made up of radical Zionists who share Netanyahu's worldview. Their plans seem coordinated, with each leader playing a specific role, sometimes appearing to agree, sometimes pretending to argue. Theatrics? But behind the curtain, they always advance Israel's interests. Trump and Netanyahu's meetings have the feel of a performance. They play roles. Trump the peacemaker, Netanyahu the reluctant partner, but nothing fundamentally changes. What gets called a peace plan is often a script carefully crafted in back rooms. Their latest White House meeting was framed as a working dinner in the Blue Room. You may remember that Ukrainian President Zelensky was once invited to lunch, but was practically thrown out before food was served. In contrast, Netanyahu walks the White House like it's his own. The difference between Zelensky's Ukraine and Netanyahu's Israel can be seen in those images alone. During this dinner, Netanyahu again nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, as he had earlier in Pakistan. Trump, reportedly jealous of Obama's Nobel, was delighted. Netanyahu presented a formal letter praising Trump's efforts in the Middle East, stating that all Israelis and even all Jewish people admire him, but who gave Netanyahu the authority to speak on behalf of all Jews. Regardless, Trump, whose family includes Jewish members, clearly values this kind of praise. Netanyahu's learning how to manage Trump, never argue with him, always flatter him. Trump may not believe all the flattery, but he still wants to hear it. Leaders like NATO's Stoltenberg and Netanyahu have mastered the art of praising Trump as a way of gaining favor. From now on, praising Trump might become a diplomatic requirement. The main topic of the Trump-Netanyahu meeting was Gaza and the future of Hamas. A few days before the meeting, Trump teased very good news from Gaza and hinted at an imminent ceasefire once again, acting like a neutral mediator. Despite sitting down with the very person responsible for the crisis, Gaza has faced bombing, famine, and devastation for over 21 months. Yet Trump presents the situation as if it were a conflict between two equal powers. Indirect negotiations between Hamas and Israel resumed in Qatar after 6 weeks, with both sides reportedly open to a ceasefire, but Israeli officials have stated clearly that they won't accept any long-term solution that includes Hamas. Instead, they propose relocating Hamas leaders, offering amnesty to fighters who surrender, and concentrating the remaining population in a narrow area near Raif to live in tent cities. This is what's being presented as a ceasefire plan. When asked if Palestinians should be forcibly removed from Gaza, Trump dodged and passed the question to Netanyahu. Netanyahu replied, if people want to stay, they can. If they want to leave, they should be able to. Gaza should not be a prison. This is a blatant reversal of reality. Israel turned Gaza into a prison, blockading exits, bombing the territory, and causing tens of thousands of deaths. Yet, Netanyahu speaks as if someone else created this humanitarian catastrophe. His words mask the reality. Over 60,000 officially dead, more than 100,000 wounded, and now Israel says, let them leave. After sealing all borders and carrying out a brutal siege, they now claim to support freedom of movement. It's a stunning contradiction. If acting awards were given in politics, Netanyahu could earn an Oscar for this performance. Trump was also asked about the two-seat solution. Again, he redirected the question to Netanyahu, which isn't surprising. Many of Trump's so-called plans are actually Netanyahu-esque, and Netanyahu misleads the public with vague statements, while in the background, a detailed plan is being executed. For months, the US and Israel have explored resettlement options for Gazan stocks have reportedly included Jordan, Egypt, Syria, and even African nations like Libya. They've planned how Gazans might be moved by land, sea, or air. Officially, people will be offered a choice, but the reality is forced displacement. If Gazans were truly free to choose, many would go to Europe or the US. But those options are not on the table. Instead, the goal is to reduce Gaza's population, drastically leave 300,000 to 500,000 in tent cities near Rafah, and clear the rest of Gaza for colonization. This process is what international human rights groups call ethnic cleansing. Jewish settlers will take over the cleared land, and construction projects, possibly led by Trump and funded by Arab states, will transform the territory into something unrecognizable. Trump also aims to expand the Abraham Accords, especially by bringing Saudi Arabia into the fold. But Saudi officials insist that Palestinian concerns must be addressed first. The solution might involve declaring a nominal Palestinian state, with no real sovereignty, just enough to appease Arab public opinion, while Israel retains control. After the dinner, officials stated that 80 to 90% of the ceasefire terms had been agreed upon. Israel still insists on the total destruction of Hamas, while Trump favors encouraging migration out of Gaza. Reportedly, during the dinner, Trump said repeatedly, "Let the Gazans leave, and we'll build something like a resort here." That's the vision: depopulate Gaza and redevelop it. The two leaders also agreed to continue close coordination not just on Gaza, but on Iran and broader regional issues. When asked about Iran, Trump said, "I hope we won't have to attack," and hinted that Iran is showing signs of being open to negotiations. On Ukraine, Trump gave mixed signals. He surprised many by saying he supports sending more weapons to help Ukraine defend itself, even criticizing Putin for continued attacks. But given Trump's erratic style, it's unclear what his real policy will be. He zigzags to confuse both the public and opponents. The Pentagon recently froze arms shipments to Ukraine, but claims that it was done without Trump's knowledge seem unlikely. Trump's team operates with extreme caution. Nothing big happens without his input. Like with Gaza, Trump is using unpredictability to keep control. In conclusion, during his first 6 months in office, Trump has managed not to disappoint either Israel or Russia. On both fronts, his strategy seems to be one of distraction and staged drama while real plans continue behind closed doors. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. See you in the next broadcast. Take care. Goodbye.